bro, who shares their income online? Like who actually does that? Why do I do it? So I'm going to talk about that today on the YouTube video. Again, no crazy big intro. I'm just going to tell you guys why I share my exact income, what I'm making every single day, every single month, every single week online, because it's obviously not a usual thing. So it actually started on Twitter just to keep myself accountable, because I wrote my goals on paper a lot before I started out in sales. In terms of getting into sales, making 5K a month, I would write them down myself. But I never really felt too much accountability and too much of a pull toward the goals as much as I did when I shared them publicly. So that's how it started. I started sharing my income, accountability. If everybody else is looking at me and everybody else is like, he's pushing for 5K a month, I feel a little bit more pressure to get up and do the necessary actions every single day in order to get to them goals. Paired with the fact that if I tell the world what I want, there's more of a chance of somebody saying, here's how to go get it. Because if you're walking down the road and you're trying to find, let's say you're walking down and you're trying to find the grocery store, right? Let's just take this for an example. You could walk down the road and you could be in your head, like you could be all in your own head, just saying to yourself, right, I want to find the grocery store. I'm going to figure it out myself and I'm going to find, or you could be like, hey, does anyone know where the grocery store is? You could literally be fucking shouting it out loud. What do you think is going to happen? Somebody is going to walk up and be like, yeah, it's that way. So that's why I started sharing it around. And I did get that. I got people coming to me and being like, here's what you got to do. Here's the kind of work that you actually have to put in to get to your goals. At the time, it was 5K a month. That's how it started, accountability. And it got me what I was looking for. Then, as my Twitter started picking up traction, I noticed that what was giving me traction was the honesty and was the literal exact numbers I was sharing. It was giving me positive traction. And again, people coming to me, supporting me, following me, and some telling me like they're being inspired by the fact that I'm so honest about it. So once I started seeing that, I was like, okay, people like the fact that I'm honest. It started out as an accountability thing, so I could stay on track for my goals. But now I'm getting some attention online for it. So then I started wondering, like, why am I getting attention for this? Why are people so drawn to it? Why are people so drawn to the honesty? And then I realized, shit, I'm one of the only honest people right now. Now, again, this is completely separate to me being absolutely broke. Like there was times where I would talk about how I made 1K in 2 weeks, like which, and then I would get slandered for it and hate for it online because, like, yeah, valid. Like I understand now because I would be unhappy with that now, but back then that was good for me. That was double what I used to earn. Um, but basically, yeah, I realized that so many people in the space and so many people spaces, I don't really like that word actually now that I just said it out loud, but so many people on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all online, they just have this big persona and they have this big narrative built up of themselves that they're so successful and they make all this money, and they're in these nice places and they're in these nice, but nobody actually talks physical numbers. Sorry, correct me, not correction there. Some people do, but most people don't. And I'm not saying that everybody has to share their exact numbers and everybody has to speak about their exact income online, and otherwise you're a liar. But people, you can tell when they imply that they make more than they do. And when I started realizing that after seeing the traction online, because people are only attracted to it because not many people were doing it like I was doing it, it kind of sparked a fire in me to keep going with it. And the more traction I felt and the more eyes I got on myself for being honest, I felt like the more eyes went on the people who were dishonest as well, and the scammers and the people who were just selling courses, but they're faking it, if that makes sense. Like they're not faking it, but they avoid the numbers, so it implies that they make more, if that makes sense. So once I seen that, I was like, yeah, I'm going on a crusade. Like I'm just gonna keep sharing my numbers indefinitely. I actually had a chat with my friend the other day, though, and I probably will stop sharing numbers at some point. I don't know when that's actually going to be, but yeah. So it started out as accountability, then it turned into actually gaining traction online. Now it is almost turned, yeah. Now it's still for gaining traction because again, people are even more drawn to it now that my numbers have gone up. although they're a little, I'm getting more bad comments just because now it seems like I'm flexing, even though I was speaking about when I was broke as well and I was making no money. I was transparent about it back then, but now since I actually make some amount of money, like 8 to 10k, it seems like flexing. But I've been doing this. Like you know, you can go check my Twitter out. It's the same username as my YouTube. But that's why I started. Then it, you know, accountability turned into online traction. It's still online traction, and now I have a bit of a brand base built, and I just want to keep this, the honesty, the hard work, the general brand that I have actually built up. I'm just going to keep the honesty as much as I possibly can and keep the realness. So that is why I share my income online. Oh, actually, sorry. Now another thing I want to note on. Now that I am making in my mind what is decent money compared to where I actually come from, I'm also proud of it. I'm proud of the hard work that I actually put in, and the same way people post things on social media that they're proud of. You know, for example, I don't know, winning a football game or winning a championship with your team. I'm proud of the work I put in daily and the money that I earn because of that. Like now I'm proud of that, so that's why I post about it as well. That's another part of it. Back then I wasn't proud though. Back then I didn't feel good about posting it, but I still did it. For the accountability, for the online traction, and also it garners respect from the people way above you without having to be at their level, if that makes sense, because they understand the trajectory that you're actually on. Honesty is the long game. So that's why I share my income online. That whole video. Again, these videos tend to be all over the place. I just shoot them and get them done in one shot. But if you go back through the video, just to recap it, number one, it was accountability. Number two, it turned into online traction. Then it turned into me actually being proud of my numbers and garnering attention and getting respected by the right people above me so I could get more mentors, more advice in the door. Um, but yeah, so that's why I share my income online. Although it's a weird thing and although it is still pretty uncomfortable for me, I'm still doing it every day. So let's work, man.